Hello and welcome to today's recipe from the pure joy of monastery cooking, done in thanks to Doug and Diana Collins for bringing up their son in this wonderful world, especially Diana Collins on this Day of Mothers. Alright, let's talk about the book, shall we? The pure joy of monastery cooking is the essential meatless recipes for any home cook. In it, you can find meals on entrees, appetizers, soups, and as we'll find out today, delicious desserts. Let's get started. The recipe we'll be doing today is found on page 243, the Dauphin apple souffle. Now, the first step to any great recipe is the right ingredients. Now, having a look at our ingredients, I see that fortunately we can find all of them on the grounds of the monastery. Oh, I love living here, so in touch with the earth. It can provide so much if we simply ask it. The first ingredient is golden delicious apples. Let's go visit the grounds. Apples are freshly in season. Yes. Golden and delicious, right from the grounds. Isn't this wonderful? Oh, yes, it is. They're amazing trees. They grow these stickers. That's where the company's got the idea from. You see? I see the next set of ingredients can be found in our monastery pantry. Sugar, ground cinnamon, all-purpose flour, and baking powder. Well, fortunately for us, Brother Henry is hard at work with his mortar and pestle grinding ground cinnamon for us. It's a sure way to piety, and Brother Henry needs plenty of that. And fortunately for us, it's a sure way to deliciousness. Let's go find it. The monastery pantry. It's a treasure trove of delights. Here we have some of my favorite sugar, some bleached flour, and the Brother Henry's ground cinnamon, and some baking powder. Now, baking powder, it's very interesting. It's like baking soda in that things rise with it, but due to the ever wonderful mysteries of God's creation, baking powder does not require an acid like vinegar to induce a rise in what you are cooking. All right. Next, we need 3 eggs. That's right, sir. Thank you very much. God gave you to this world so that we might have eggs. Wonderful. Yes, we do have chickens on the grounds. Let's go visit them now. It appears our hens have had a good day. I have with me 3 eggs. Oh, I love contemplating eggs. The possibilities. New life. God's love in an oval. And they make wonderful companions in the kitchen as well. All right. I believe we're almost done. There's only one more ingredient left. Calvados liqueur. Again, a pleasure that we are allowed on the monastery. Unfortunately, our shipment of Calvados liqueur did not come this year. Yes, it brought darkness upon me for some days, but fortunately, we do have a reserve. We do have a reserve of a replacement. Now, as I said, we don't have our chosen liqueur of choice, but we do have a reserve that will do quite fine. And while I don't necessarily enjoy celebrating a violent man, he does make a very interesting liqueur that we can use today. Yes, Captain Morgan. See? Yes, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. And now we are ready to begin. Our first step is preparation, and we'll begin with slicing the apples. Then on to separating the eggs. The key to any good dish is hard work. First, we'll begin by peeling all of the apples of their skins, for we'll find that this is rather tough and not suitable for a dessert. Yes. Hard work is the key here, as God would want it. We know that well in the monastery. Now for slicing the apple. So, we wish to make them as thin as possible while not endangering our fingers and while reason carries through. Now, I usually begin, personally, by chopping the apple into quarters and then coring it. This smaller knife is more maneuverable than the large knife. You'll also notice that I'm using my favorite knives of German steel. Oh, the Germans. I know a number of brothers there as well in the monasteries. Germany has done wonders through the ages for us. It's easy to forget what things were like 400, 500 years ago. And what they have brought us today. Wonderful tools. Alright, now I'm quickly slicing them, after which they'll be put into a pan ready for our mixture of eggs and sugar and everything else to be placed on top. Now I've finished slicing my last apple. I'll move the pieces into my slice bowl and I'll clean off my cutting board because, as we know, cleanliness is next to godliness. Now you'll notice, I always find this very interesting, the seeds of an apple that we throw out. They're slightly poisonous. Did you know that? I find it to be such a fitting, wonderful reminder of original sin. Yes, and what we must remember. I particularly like apple dishes for that reason. Alright, on to the eggs. Now we need to separate these eggs by their yolk and white. And a technique by which you can go by many different types, and there are a few that work particularly well, I find. We wish to perhaps crack the egg along its equator and then slowly get it out. Oh, it looks like it all came. And then I'll just scoop up the yolk, just like so, and move it over to my second dish. Wonderful. You'll want this because we wish to prepare our pan. We'll begin by spreading some butter in it. Just as God wishes for us to spread the love of Christ across the world, so shall you take your butter and be very generous with bringing it to all parts of the pan. See? Oh, wonderful. I can feel the love. Next, once we've gotten that all over, we'll be bringing apple slices in and neatly arranging them. Just like so. Once you've finished arranging your apples, you're going to take about a third of the sugar you measured out, about a quarter cup, and you're going to sprinkle it over the apples. Now don't be shy, this is a dessert. Beautiful and tasty. Next we need to make the liquid that will go over the apples and cook with them. It will be a mixture of yolks, sugar, flour, and our liqueur. I can't wait. We'll start by bringing out a blender to help us bring these ingredients together into a holy union. Our work with the blender will begin with the milk and the egg yolks. So start by adding your egg yolks and milk and blending them right up. Wonderful. Now we're ready to add the rest of our solids. The flour, the sugar, the baking powder, and my favorite, the liqueur. You'll want approximately 3 tablespoons of whatever liqueur you choose. To taste, of course. I think we're ready to move on. Now we'll take our dish with apples, which I've also sprinkled with some cinnamon, and we'll cover it with our milk and yolk mixture. That's right. Drench the apples. The last step before we enter into the oven is I've put some egg whites now into my blender and beaten them until they're rather stiff. Now I hope you set your oven to 350 degrees because we're going to be using that soon, and if you haven't you'll need to wait, and that's just a pity because then it'll take longer to eat. Yes. Alright, that looks about right. Now we've come to one of my favorite parts. The oven is the core of a home. It brings heat and warmth everywhere, and putting things in it is a holy act. Alright, I have my dish here with the egg whites on top. Now we only need to wait about 35 or 40 minutes, and we should check on it because these can be delicate and we want them to come out just right. Oh. now it appears we're ready. Golden and delicious. Look at that. Mmm. It's ready. And now we have our results. The apple souffle. Mmm. Delightful. It's a wonder to be on this earth to enjoy such a thing. Thank you very much, Mother.